So, but no, it was real good. It was chilly for those of us from Florida. It was 46 and 48 in the morning, but it did get up to 70, 73 in the afternoons.
We've
Oh.
already had our hugs. I don't need to say hi to you again.
We've had 75 to 80 here all week. So
Yeah.
and
And
beautiful.
what do you have today?
About 60 and rain.
Yeah, it's supposed to start dropping, be in the 40s by mid-afternoon.
Yeah.
Sounds like you had a pretty good week though.
That was a
Great
lot
week.
longer than what rain's been.
Did you get a lot of work done?
Some.
Just
Some.
me.
Yep.
Did you start planting yet?
Not planting. We've been getting some ground ready to plant soybeans.
They'll talk.
And there has been quite a bit of planting done around, especially down in the river bottoms where it's drier.
Yeah. Dan said their gang got started planting last week.
Oh, wow.
It's okay.
Yeah, we're just drying out actually now.
Yeah, Doug Cook was out in the field
Yeah.
spraying
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yep.
Praying.
Spraying. He may have been praying
You do a
too.
lot of that as well.
You're looking good, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you. Cheers.
Well, you're all looking good, but.
Yeah, I feel left out. don't you?
Sorry.
You didn't look your direction, did you?
No. You've seen enough of me over the years.
Well, apparently, he's gonna go ahead and plant. I mean,
Yeah. Joanne's kids put that field up for sale.
Oh, did it?
How much you think? It's 30 acres.
Were they asking 20,000 an acre or more? Or more? Wow.
30,000 an acre.
Wow.
Almost
the
$1
same
million
one.
bucks.
Yep.
But it's not called that.
I don't know who buy it to farm.
You're not gonna farm it for that.
to me about it.
And it's too small to put a subdivision or something in.
Wow.
Well, and the creek is right there.
Mhm.
So anyhow, I think they're dreaming.
We will see what we will see, huh?
Yeah, we're looking for.
Laura was all worried about it first, and I was like, there's no way that they'll get that. It's not like it's 100 acres out that could be developed, you know, it's, so,
So what,
not my problem.
tell them about what Steve and Kathy wanted to do.
Oh, well, two of the kids wanted to put in a manufactured housing development. Doesn't that sound better than trailer park? Like they had any idea how much that would cost to put in even with,
That might be hard to get zoning for too.
well, they
You would
wouldn't.
hope.
Thank
would
you.
hope. You would hope you were.
Well, and then all the infrastructure, it's not like they got any money, I mean,
Yeah.
the amount of money you'd have to have up front to even do
Yeah.
that. So,
And there's some conversations between Dana Burrows and Dan Bean last week. And based on the way they talked, I don't see how anybody can make any money farming today. Like you were talking, the price of land at $10,000 and more an acre to start with.
Mhm.
Well, I
Yeah.
think Doug's gonna go ahead and farm it apparently.
yeah,
This is really good.
Mhm.
I think we got beans this year
Okay.
going in.
Yeah. Morning, Stan.
Morning.
Loring, Dale Doral,
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Turn on the computer at home so the cat could join us.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
yeah.
She's never sure when the computer starts talking, whether to run toward it or away from it.
I like the way when Jonathan's on,
Oh,
he just
yeah.
jumps up right behind him, and then you see the tail, and it looks like he's got a ponytail.
This
Morning, Lauren. Morning, Lauren.
this is the hymnal that I have, the green hymnal.
Song.
Is that the one?
That's not the one I'm using
That's
this
not the
morning.
one.
No, I know it. I checked that. I don't have the other one.
Well, we could probably get you a copy.
Well, I can't believe Beth doesn't have a copy of the other one, as many hours as we spent in the meeting house, divvying stuff up.
This has more folk hymns and more modern hymns in it.
Yeah, that's the Friends General Conference hymnal.
Maybe you could sneak into the meeting house and find one.
You could probably find one or two here.
Really,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe if you knew anybody, you know, who were close friends of yours, they could just take one home from a meeting
Okay.
and have it for you.
And so I said, well, come, I'm just gonna have my jeans on, we'll be fine. Hello.
Morning, good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you.
See you too. Yeah.
Been a while.
It has been.
We heard you were in the neighborhood.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
The beans have arrived.
I guess I don't really need to take one of the good chairs since I'm gonna sit in it most of the time anyway.
Bring it more. Here or there?
I don't care.
Depends on whether you want to stay awake or.
You want one of those?
Snooze. Yeah, there you go.
The napping chairs and the Lions Club. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you. Anxious to be back.
Well, yes, sure that's true. Yeah, Norma's selecting the comfortable chair.
Well,
You can probably roll you over. Well, it's good. You gotta be careful when you sit in them though, because they wanna go right. Yeah, and then this one leans way back.
good to see you. I'm doing well. Stephen, good to see you. And Nancy, good to see you too.
Good to be seen.
Better seen than viewed. Isn't that what Tom Molyneux used to say?
That sounds like a Tom
And you
Mullins.
said you didn't know anything about
I
it.
don't know anything about it, no.
The whole article is there. It's in a Lions Club magazine.
Oh, okay.
Those lions are probably lying.
I was gonna say maybe they're desperate for a story. I don't know. I'm sorry.
They didn't have to go all the way to Iowa to find popcorn.
Yeah,
All we got in Indiana.
Boy, you had a huge article about it, didn't you?
Just
Nice
take
little
it and
stage.
keep it.
Okay, thanks.
Well, we heard one report on the reunion. You could see if your stories match.
So what was the report?
I'm not, that would be leading the witnesses.
Oh, okay. Well, it was a good reunion. I was sort of nervous about trying to remember everybody's name and people I hadn't met, but after 3 days, I think I got it straight.
Names and then how they're all related to each other and all that.
Yes, yeah.
That can get a little tricky.
Sometimes I think.
Well, there was a report that it was a quality, not a quantity reunion.
We did, we were missing some people that we expected to come until just at the last minutes. But, 19 of us?
I think that's what I reported. I think we're matching so far.
Yeah, so far the stories are lining up.
We didn't talk about who the oldest citizen was who attended.
Oh,
We invited people to line up according to age.
yeah.
I was first in line.
You were the youngest?
And I was on the other end.
Oh.
Age has its benefits when you line up from eldest to youngest at the food table.
Yeah.
We did it twice because the first time Patrice wanted to take a panoramic shot of everybody. And the camera didn't work, so she asked us to do it again the next time.
And she was probably the youngest then, right? That was there?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, David is younger than she
Oh,
is.
is David younger than she is? Oh, I didn't know that.
April to August.
She on this board, Casey.
young, he could marry.
Oh, the weather's strict.
So youngest with this crowd is a matter of perspective.
Well,
All at the high end of the bell curve, I think is where they.
well, you get Jonathan in the mix and it
No, that
it
doesn't,
skews it down half
I
a
guess he
year.
and Kristen, they do
That
bring
does
it
lower
down a little bit.
And Brandon.
Oh, and Brandon, yeah, Brandon was here last week.
Oh, was it? Great.
Yeah. You know, one of those Christmas and Easter
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
We were teasing
Well,
him.
yes, we were on the road.
We were in DC, well,
At
outside of
Viz.
DC.
Oh, okay.
Holland.
So does anybody have any comments on the well-regulated militia in town? 70,000 strong?
Oh.
I wanted to go protest and my family was absolutely against it. They said, you'll be one of the few people there with no gun and you better stay home. The NRA.
NRA's in town.
In Indianapolis.
Yes, it's their annual convention. 70,000 gun-toting. I mean,
But interestingly enough, backpacks and water bottles and things like that were not allowed in, but apparently you could bring your gun.
Yeah.
well, and then on Friday, you couldn't bring your gun
Ah, okay.
because Mr. Pence and Mr. Trump were there. It's like, and there's all kinds of gun displays, but they're not for sale. It's like,
Ridiculous.
but it's just an interesting dynamic, you know, we're all for guns, but no, you can't carry them in this day.
And there's absolutely no mention of countries that have a far better record for guns than this country.
Well, it'd be good to have a good discussion about what shall we do
Yeah,
and what can we do.
or what can we do? What can we get done?
What difference does it make if we care? If that's not the right thing. When you learn that the number one cause of death for teens and children nowadays is gun violence, number one above all else. We've got to do something.
It is interesting how a minority controls that discussion too. I mean, in the sense of the extreme on that side, I mean, it's not that I don't have a gun, I have a rifle, but it's the kinds of things that can't even be open for discussion. Sad.
And thoughts and prayers don't seem to be working.
No.
Not when that's all you do.
Doesn't bring anybody back to life, does
No.
it?
Although I was thinking about that last week when I was trying to work on my Easter message on the resurrection, where I was talking about the resurrection. Yeah, but there are a number of resurrections in the Bible. There's not just one. So it's like, But I did decide last Sunday was not the Sunday to bring that matter up. We would look at the resurrection. Well, it is a little past our appointed time, but are there, the only announcement that I know for today is we do have monthly meeting following meeting for worship. I have not received the treasurer's report yet, so I will send it whenever I receive it. I don't think we're short of funds, so I'm not worried about that, unless we never hear from our treasurer. But it's a relatively short agenda, so.
Get suspicious if her forwarding address becomes Barbados.
Yes, something like that. I think they have extradition, so Brazil would worry me more.
In terms of announcements, USFW will be on Wednesday at Katrina McConaughey's house, which also happens to be Sylvia's house. So that's Wednesday at 10 o'clock.
You were just there? Are you going home today?
I'm going to Iowa today.
Okay, going to the other, the northern home. Okay. Are there joys or concerns to share?
Granddaughter Morgan Mills is 21 years old today
My gosh.
and graduates from Ball State, May 6th. So,
Wow.
3 years, made it through in 3 years.
With what major? Journalism?
Radio, communications, and I don't know what all else.
Some kind of telecommunications thing.
Telecommunications, all that, yeah. Mhm.
Well, I have a grandchild too, story. Emma will be returning today from Baltimore. She's been representing University of Indianapolis at the National Collegiate.
I don't know if they can hear me or not.
And she's sent some pictures and she's having a good time, but she thinks the days are pretty long with their meetings and everything.
Well, my grandson's aunt got married yesterday and we all went to the wedding and he was a groomsman and looked all sharp and made me feel really old. It was the
You
shortest,
are.
yeah, and it was the shortest wedding I've ever been to. I mean, it was maybe 15 minutes. It was great. Everything was wonderful. And this woman hit on me at the wedding.
The times they are changing.
They are.
Stan was gonna say something?
Stan, were you gonna share something?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'm fooling around with this thing and I couldn't wasn't sure if anybody heard me. Our granddaughter's getting married 1 week from today.
Oh.
Next Sunday at Jones's, whatever that is.
The event center.
Mooresville.
Yeah.
McKinsey.
Mackenzie.
Mackenzie is.
Yeah, it's Jeff's and Christie's daughter.
Well, she's old enough for that, I guess.
Yeah, 25.
Wow. Well, I'm happy to report on the Wilmington front, all is quiet. With our interim president who was already on faculty and an assistant dean, she has stepped right up and calmed things down and had lots of listening sessions with students and faculty and staff, and people are very excited about her, and our accreditation is coming up, and she's got that all under control, and I mean, it's just night and day with the atmosphere on campus. It's just, the only downside is they asked me to do the Quaker lecture in 2 weeks, right before the board meeting, so I'll be doing that.
Sounds good.
But speaking of colleges, I haven't heard anything about how the catastrophe in Richmond has affected Earlham College. Has anybody heard anything about that? The plastics factory and smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a shade north and east of it, and it was blowing away from Earlham campus. They were outside the lockdown zone.
Outside Friends Fellowship as well.
Was it?
Barely.
That's good because Shirley Hayflick lives there.
Yeah.
As well as
And
the.
Lynn's uncle and other
Yeah.
people we know live there, so.
It's not really over yet.
No,
Nope.
it won't be for a while. Well, let's hold these concerns in God's light and love into prayer as we center down, and I'd invite you to put yourselves on mute. Lynn is the worship leader today, and she will lead as she feels led.
Loving God, we thank you for your presence here with us this day. We thank you for all the evidences around us of your love for us in the beauty of the spring trees and flowers. the variety of weather, up and down temperatures and all of that is evidence of your love for us when we stop and pay attention. We thank you for all of the concerns and joys that we have shared this morning and for your presence with each of us in those situations. Thank you for your guidance this morning during our meeting for worship. Amen. Well, if there can be said to be any kind of theme for the hymns I'm going to play this morning, I guess the one word would be love. Love of God for us, love of us for God, and love between us. Be all now.
Look, it takes.
Thank you, Lynn. We know some folks need to leave, so we'll bid them farewell and We hope you can join us for a monthly meeting at 10:35. If not, blessings on your week, and we hope to see you next week.
Bye.
As I'm sitting here, it occurred to me that people are a lot like pianos. Each piano has its own personality. And as the piano player, you find that out when you sit down to play it. For instance, the one that was in the meeting room and that is now in our basement plays very easily. You don't have to hit the keys very hard in order for it to make music. This one has a different personality. You have to beat it. You have to hit the keys really hard for it to make a sound. And then it also has a key that has stuck for as many years as I've known the piano. It's been tuned many times and all of that, but the key still sticks. I wonder whether God looks at us in the same way. Whether God says to himself, well, when I want to speak to Steve, I have to do it in this certain way for him to hear me. And when I want to speak to Lynn, I have to remember that she's got this stuck key that I've tried to remedy for a long time, but it's still there. So I have to speak to her in a different way. So as you sit here this morning, I'm wondering, what kind of piano are you? What would God say about the kind of piano that you are and how God has to work to speak to you?
So I thought about Lynn's query. I thought, I'd like to be a magnificent Steinway Grand. I think I'm probably more like the beat up old upright that was down the basement at my grandparents' house, painted over a couple times and chipped keys, and but it was still kind of fun to play as kids. We all learned different songs on it, but it was always going out of tune. And somehow I think I'm always in need of tuning, which is one reason I'm here every Sunday morning.
And I feel like a piano that got their keys put in the wrong place. But if you learn where the right keys are, I'm okay.
And the goal of all pianos is to create harmony. I'm thinking about the last couple of days we've had. On our way back from North Carolina, we stayed maybe 20 hours in Nashville, Tennessee, to visit 3 different families. The first one was a family of Russians that Dan and Sarah welcomed to Iowa 20 years ago. And they lived there in with them just down the road, well, with them for a little bit, and then down the road a mile or so for 5 years, so they knew them well. and were great at orientation for them as they came to America to live. And their two young boys at the time were now older boys. One's I think, 30 and one's 37. And Dan had asked them if they'd been given a bad time by being Russians. And I was pleased to hear that they haven't been, that nobody seems to be holding any grudge against them because they're from Russia. But they did say that the two younger boys you wouldn't know were from Russia if you didn't know, because their language is quite good. And Dan asked them if they suffered any criticism or rejection because of that. But one of the boys extended his response to say that he sometimes overhears discussions and criticisms of the Russians, politically or whatever, and he said, usually what I say is, well, have you been there? Do you know the people? And then we went, yesterday morning after that, we went to take to lunch 3 young adults who have come from the Congo just 3 or 4 weeks ago that Dan had met in the same refugee camp he met in the Rashidi's family in. And it was just, you could tell that they were really quite new to America, and a shocking costs there are to buy food and transportation to their jobs. They do have jobs as of this week, and it just was interesting to get their perspective on how things are going. And then we visited, I guess I left out, we visited for breakfast, we visited Dan's nephew, who was adopted from Korea as a 3-year-old. And he's now, I don't know if you've ever heard of the company called Smile Direct. He is now the chief engineer and head honcho there. Just incredible. So I was thinking red and yellow, black and white. He is precious. We are precious in his sight. All of us are.
If all hearts are clear, we'll end meeting for worship this morning. Okay, well, it's good to see everyone. And we'll take a little break and we'll have monthly meeting in a few minutes.
Bye, Sue.
Bye. Can I help you out?